we need a sovereign national conference to fashion out a new constitution.
That is one of Nigeria's prominent legal practitioners asking for a sovereign national conference in 2010. But in 2013, the leader of the All Progressives Congress, Mr. Bola Tinubu, seems not to agree with that.
I see a contradiction here. I will discuss with my party. I see a diversion here. I will discuss with my party. I see deception here. I will discuss with my party. I see lack of honesty and integrity here.
The constitution of the committee chaired by Senator Okunromu has also generated reactions.
I told you we'll never canvass for the conference. And we therefore don't know the name, the content, and the area it will cover. We don't even know the score.
It's just a cosmetic approach to our solution. It's not a direct approach. The real approach to the solution is National Sovereign Conference.
It's a right step in the right direction. And by setting up this committee, I think the president is trying to convince Nigerians that he means business.
A big question is how badly do we need this national conference, and is it capable of solving the nation's problems?
National conference, whatever I want to call it, the confabulation representing Nigeria, like Bola Ige pointed out, will ask, one, do we want to live together? And if so, how? Those are the two questions. And once they elaborate the blueprint that will create a new Nigeria, such blueprint will be put into a national referendum or a plebiscite.
Naturally, you expect as a young man that unity of this country is not negotiable.
Another big question is the issue of representation and the constitution of delegates to the conference.
Every nationality must be respected, like I said, but we cannot look at a way of course, maybe a proportional representation. For instance, an Ogun 5,000 people, Yoruba almost 50 million people. Now, we may look at proportional representation based on the numerical strength of each group, but when it comes to voting at the conference, each nationality should have more than one vote.
This country is standing on a tripod: the Hausa, the Igbos, and Yorubas. And if for us to move ahead, this three tripod has to come together.
It's better to talk to Jojo than box.
It is hoped that with this issue of national conference, it will get everyone talking, and at the end of the day, the many problems of Nigerians may thus be on its way to be solved. I'm Shehu Okimbaloye, reporting for Channels Television News.
Considering our focus on that talk about, by the way, the president had inaugurated that advisory committee on this national conference. We're joined this morning by Mr. Adegbusi, who is a legal practitioner. Thank you for coming on this morning.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
So, what kind of step would you describe this inauguration of this advisory committee now, even though people already think they know where this will end in terms of what happens to various committees, but would you consider this a step, and what kind?
Well, let me start by saying that trust is an essential ingredient of governance. And when citizens don't trust the government, even when the government means well, they want to doubt him. I'm not cynical, regardless of imputed motives. For me, any attempt at rejigging the Nigerian state is a welcome development and a step in the right direction. There are some underlying suspicions, but I think the government and the president deserve the benefit of the doubt. What we need to do, for some of us who have been unrepentant and unapologetic advocates of national conference, is to seize the moment, regardless of whatever the government wants to do about it. The people must seize the moment, take the initiative, and then convert a seeming disadvantage to an advantage. It can be done.
You know, the first thing that hits me, I don't know if it hits you too, is that what we're first of all having is a committee, an advisory committee, to tell the government how to go about setting up this conference. So what are you looking to see? I mean, assuming you were in that committee, what would you be looking to see?
It's about the modalities and the mechanism. There are many contentious issues all over the world where you have countries that are plural, heterogeneous. There are contending factors, centrifugal and centripetal. What the committee, or the remit of the committee, is to talk, engage the major stakeholders, sound them out. What's your opinion? How do you think this conference can be convoked? I can confirm to you that as a proud member of Afenifere Renewal Group, we've already commenced consultations. As somebody who was involved actively in the PRONACO process, we're already consulting. And what we're going to do...
With the committee?
No, amongst ourselves.
Okay.
To come up with a position paper, because this is the time to know the people who are indeed genuinely motivated about how to solve Nigeria's problems. And those ones who would always flip-flop. When they were in government, they didn't say anything good in national conference. When they got out, they jumped onto the ship. They are welcome. But we have been very consistent. And therefore, we have a responsibility to interface with the committee. Mode of representation.
Yeah.
Is it sovereign or otherwise? Will it be state-by-state basis? Will it be local government by local government basis? Will it be ethnic nationalities driven? Will it be sovereign or otherwise? These are issues that stakeholders would articulate and present to the committee, and for the committee to look at the preponderance of opinion and then advise government on same.
They have a month.
Yeah, you can do it. There's nothing new to be done. We have done all the work. You have draft constitution of PRONACO. You have United CD. You have Dr. Berko's group. And you have Afenifere's position on it. Or should say government has a position. Or just say government has a position. Or Hanese has a position.
It would seem that some people are already preempting what would the group will most likely, advise the government on, because we're already seeing Jigawa State saying, count us out of this. At least the government is saying, count us out of it.
He has jumped the gun because the modalities have not been published. As anybody said, Jigawa State will be invited. I mean, these are people who they don't even know Nigeria. We cannot continue this route. In any case, a conference is a voluntary thing. If you are invited and you boycott, others will go there and push their positions, and your own position, who has refused to be part of the process, will be abandoned. Who is the loser?
And that position will be binding on those who perhaps opt out.
This is democracy, for goodness sake. President Jonathan did not win 99% of the votes before becoming president. And some of us that voted against him don't have a choice but to respect the wishes of the majority.
Again, for a country as diverse as Nigeria, now, what we're seeing now, for instance, from the Jigawa example and some other people, is expected, isn't it?
Let's hit the nail on the head. The people who are benefiting from this lopsided, skewed, illogical, ungainly structure will resist it. Therefore, it is to be expected. But it is in their own interests to let reason prevail. Because some of us who are moderates, who are pushing for conference, don't let us fight, may not be around when some guys that would succeed us will not listen to moderation. They will just pick up guns. It is bound to happen. Look at the issue of nation states all over the world. If you don't sort out the issue of ethnic nationalities, even United Nations, as a group, recognizes this, the right of ethnic man. If you go to the US, you have the minorities question there. The Native Americans, the Red Indians, have some areas where they govern. It is there in UK. Visit Tesco, visit Asda. You see some areas where they will brandish or itemize ethnic minority foods. After all, Scotland island Wales have powers devolved to them. There's a difference between somebody who is from Scotland and somebody who is pure English.
So, in other words, we know all of this. Is that why some are saying that, sorry, Martin, I want to put this in quickly. Is that why some are saying that there should be some no-go areas?
We can assist the people who are talking about no-go areas. The no-go areas, I mean, remember it was the cliche under Babangida that under no condition should the unity of Nigeria be negotiated. It is understandable for people who have poor understanding of how to develop a nation. As a matter of fact, the first thing you negotiate in an heterogeneous society is that unity. The challenge for Nigeria is to see how we can develop a constitutional mechanism that will allow people who want to develop at their own pace to do so without jeopardizing the unity of Nigeria. It can be done. But to think that you can decree unity and say that this must not be discussed is futile, because all over the world where you have challenges like this, India, Belgium, Canada, name them, Ethiopia, they have sat down, they have looked themselves in the face, and then they have devised constitutional mechanism to take care of the contending factors. Let me say this very quickly. It is time for people who have entrenched positions to change their mind. And I'm going to be very blunt. The Northerners must appreciate the fact that time has come for them to know that the people who have their resources must have a say in how the resources are exploited. And also to tell the people who have the resources that you cannot have absolute resource control of those resources. It's about negotiation, give and take. After all, we have done it before.
You know, it's very interesting. You talked about those who do not want, you know, do not want a sovereign national conference or a national conference or a national conversation.
Let me disambiguate on that, on this issue of sovereign national conference.
There are two people who, sorry to cut in there, there are two groups of people who some people have identified. The ruling class is one. You've also identified another class, the Northerners, because it would seem that that is who you're addressing, but maybe you should be addressing the northern elite, because a host of people will say eventually who are those who come to have these conversations. It's always those in the elitist group. Do you agree with that classification? Because the reason a host of people are suspecting, you know, ulterior motives